Oh, when the man stops talking, I start. Hello, welcome in. It's the final hour of the Matt Murphy Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 7 minutes after 6 o'clock. What is going on, friends? We have news to discuss. We'll also have some fun in the final hour of our week together as we celebrate the weekend that is here, and it's a long weekend for many of you, as it is Labor Day weekend. I'm off. We're off Monday for Labor Day, for the holiday. All of our local programs will be best of programs, some better than others. How's ours looking there, Jackson?
Looks great. It's in.
I feel like, based on our conversations today, that at least one of the hours that you did for the best of, because Jackson's fully responsible for putting that all together, I feel like one of the hours was probably done angrily.
Hastily is what I would say.
Hastily?
Hastily.
Okay. Well,
let's get it done. Let's get it in.
Here's what I would like for the folks to do, if you don't mind. I hate to ask you of this on a holiday, but listen to the 4 hours and then tell us on.
It's actually only 2 hours.
Was it 2 hours?
Replayed.
Huh.
First hour.
Wow, I mean, that's rather hastily done. Then.
We have your interview with Bill Lee.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. A little re-up on the interview, talking about the tunnel. That's good stuff. And then, what I used to do, and I need to start doing it, I used to do some specialty programming. Maybe now that you and I have this budding young relationship going on, we can do that, where we recreate, like, on Labor Day, I would do songs about working or talk about various aspects of capitalism or the free market, and do that as a special program that's never been heard before. We'll do that next Labor Day.
Okay.
When's the next holiday that we're off? Thanksgiving?
Probably.
I mean, official.
We don't get off for Halloween, do we?
No, we do not.
I may not be here. I love Halloween.
I like Halloween a lot, too. It might be my fave.
Christmas is because I have my birthday around there. It's a lot of fun.
You were far enough away. You didn't get double ups, did you?
Oh, double ups are a common thing, yes.
Oh, this is for Christmas and your birthday?
Yes.
That sucks. That's awful.
Not a great birthday, December 30th. That's a fun one. But a lot of your friends are out of town, you learn as a kid.
Somebody says correct him, Jackson. I don't know what you're correct. What are you correcting me on?
You're wrong.
I'm wrong on what?
Everything.
Okay. All right. Jackson, I sit corrected.
Perfect.
There you go. Lee is next up on the show, 615-737-9986. I'd love to just do telephone calls for the last hour, whatever you want to talk about, because I'll be honest with you. We try to be family here. We're family, and I got traveling on my mind. Lee, what's going on?
Hey, speaking about traveling, I was going to tell you one thing before I lose connection here. Next time you and Jay is out wanting to travel towards Bowling Green, if you want to go maybe through the Corvette Museum area, little back camp, people, the thing people don't get to see.
Let me tell you, I've been to, I don't know that Jay has gone, and I'll recommend this to him, Lee, but boy, I went up there the first year I was in Nashville. I was by myself, so I did a lot of, looking around and going to some of those places. And I was on my motorcycle, and I ended up in Bowling Green, and I knew that the Corvette Museum was in Bowling Green because I saw the news stories about the sinkhole, right?
Yeah.
And so I stopped, and I went through it, and it is worth it. Y'all, if y'all have never been, it is a fabulous history of the Corvette, and the way that they incorporated that sinkhole into the building is incredible.
My daughter took that 911 call the day, and friends I have from Minnesota called, hey, what's happening down here, But, so I got you some, maybe get to ride around the track on your motorcycle, whatever. And I was going to say congratulations to Robert and Jackson. I already told Jackson. And White Ash and White Oaks, probably some of the hardest woods.
White Ash, White Oaks.
White Ash for the like a Louisville Slugger bat. White Oak like a Jack Daniel's or a Kentucky Bourbon charred barrel. Well,
I think I'll take your word for it, Lee. I think hickory's pretty hard too.
Yeah, oh, hickory's good too. I didn't say it.
Yeah.
Hey, pine's hard if somebody hits you in the head with it. Believe me.
That's true. That's true.
know.
Yeah, if you get hit with a 2x4, you're going to know it.
That's right. If you get hit in the head with a paint paddle, you're gonna know it.
Amen.
But anyway, yeah, I love your show. A long-time listener. Call every once in a while.
Well,
First
Lee,
time
I'm glad you
getting through.
called. I'm glad you held, and I hope you have a great weekend, buddy.
Your shirt,
All right, man.
and your shirt wasn't that bad.
Lee, don't-
Thank you, Lee. You know what? I appreciate you saying that. Hush your mouth, Jackson. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate you saying that. God bless you, Lee. Now, that's a smart man right there. Said my shirt wasn't that bad. Now, I'm assuming he meant my shirt from yesterday and not today, because the shirt for today, probably only hitting well with what? 2% of the audience, maybe? Maybe.
That's a high bar.
Maybe. They're around. They're around. They see my little emblem on the back of my truck, and they give me the old thumbs up.
It's not as ugly as the shirt you're wearing today. I'll say that.
The one from yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you know what the little thing I have on the back of my truck means? Have you seen it?
Go Dogs.
No. It says HBTFD. HBTFD.
Hail to.
No.
Oh.
No. And if you-
Hey.
no.
Hello.
Just every H word that you could think of.
Oh, I can't say a couple of those.
It starts with how.
How the bleep did you get a license?
That's pretty good, too. All right, so you've heard the news. Ken Weaver was delivering it earlier, and I guess we have to get into it. And thank you all for the birthday wishes. Y'all are very, very kind to offer me happy birthday wishes either on the Super Text line or on the chat line, on the YouTube chat. I appreciate all of you. Federal court, we've talked about this. We talked about it with Cameron Smith, and, give credit where due. Cameron was he's pretty dead on, although it has to go to the Supreme Court. We talked to Jay about it as well, and Jay agreed with it. An appellate court has affirmed a ruling that the tariffs that Donald Trump has been engaging in, the negotiated tariffs, have exceeded his presidential authority under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. This is not unexpected, and one would think that the president and the White House is ready for this. Federal Appeals Court has ruled that most of President Donald Trump's tariffs are, in fact, illegal. I understand what the president is attempting to do. I understand that the president wants the ability to negotiate. I also understand that under the checks and balances that we see in our Constitution of the United States, it's pretty clear who gets to levy taxes. And last I checked, a tariff is still a tax. The courts said that we affirm the CIT's holding that the trafficking and reciprocal tariffs imposed by the executive orders exceed the authority delegated to the president by the IEEPA. We also affirm the CIT's grant of declaratory relief that the orders are invalid as contrary to law. The 7-4 vote allowed the tariffs to remain in place through October 14th to give the Trump administration an opportunity to file an appeal to the United States Supreme Court. Trump criticized the ruling, saying all tariffs were still in effect. Quote, "Today, a highly partisan appeals court incorrectly said that our tariffs should be removed. But they know the United States of America will win in the end. If these tariffs ever went away, it would be total disaster for the country. It would make us financially weak, and we have to be strong. The USA will no longer tolerate enormous trade deficits and unfair tariffs." Just get the Congress of the United States to affirm the tariffs that are already passed. Do it by any means necessary. Hell, there ought to be enough Democrats in the Senate that appreciate taxes that they'll do it as well. Trump obviously has been negotiating with a variety of different countries. It's going to make several negotiations a little bit more difficult on the way toward this appeal that has to happen by October 14th. October 14th. So Donald Trump, the White House, a spokesperson for the White House said, President Trump lawfully exercised his tariff power granted to him by Congress to defend our national and economic security from foreign threat. The president's tariffs remain in effect, and we look forward to ultimate victory on this matter. I don't know. I think it's a long way. You're a long way from victory in this. It is, as Jay has told us in the past, it is a fair fight going on right now, but the courts have been pretty clear as a third-party arbiter of this that only Congress can levy taxes. And if you consider a tariff a tax, then the Congress has to approve of any negotiated issue with regard to these tariffs. And Trump's ability to declare an emergency does not extend to that level. That's ultimately what the courts have decided. At least this appellate court. It'll go to the Supreme Court, and I think Trump thinks that he's all good on the Supreme Court level, and I'm not so sure that he is. In the meantime, Donald Trump revoked Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection, so the taxpayers don't have to pay for her to come to the Ryman Auditorium anymore, and that's good news. Now, our friends on the political left, so to speak, those in the media circles on the political left, they are just apoplectic about all of this. How dare he, they say. Well, vice presidents only enjoy Secret Service protection for so long. And frankly, I don't think we need to be protecting these people for the end of time, to the end of time. Kamala Harris enjoyed her 6 months of Secret Service protection. Joe Biden extended it for another year. No. You know what? You're not the president anymore, and Kamala Harris has plenty of money. She's on a book tour. I mean, we related, she sold out the Ryman Auditorium. Did you remember what those tickets were going for at the Ryman Auditorium? Lower level Ryman, like $800 a piece. Kamala Harris is making plenty of money from whiny crybaby liberals who want to get together and hung one another and sing Kumbaya and talk about brighter days being ahead when Donald Trump's no longer president of the United States of America because he's such an awful person, despite the fact that he's only done good things for the United States of America. That said, I think it's time for Kamala Harris to pay for her own security. The Secret Service protection offered candidate Donald Trump was woefully inadequate. Woefully inadequate. Remember, they didn't even offer Robert F. Kennedy Secret Service protection, the Biden administration. So save me the caterwauling and the crybaby antics about how Kamala Harris's life is in danger. These same scumbags aren't going to talk to me about Kamala Harris being put in danger by Donald Trump when these same scumbags put Donald Trump in danger. He almost had his head blown off, for goodness sake, and they don't seem to care anything about that. They don't want to talk about that. That happened at the hand of an inadequate protection unit in Butler, Pennsylvania, a year and some change ago. So I don't want to hear it. And if she's charging $900 a pop so liberals can come and talk about how things ought to be or how things could have been, then she can afford her own damn security. And that's what I have to say about that. It's 20 after the hour, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you, Ken Weaver. Thank all of you for being with us on this episode 875, my final one of my 51 years on planet Earth, turning 52 this coming Monday. And I appreciate all of you well wishes and all of your happy birthdays. Very much appreciated. What?
Last one with your name on the show.
Huh?
What?
Say again?
Last one with your name on the show?
Yeah, the Jackson Williams show featuring Matt Murphy. Is that what we're doing?
The Jackson Williams and Ken Weaver show featuring a special guest appearance by introducing in place of Matt Murphy.
So do I get you get billing on the top of the show, I get like right at the end.
We're going to add like one of those little
special guest
lowercase
star
A's that's like at the top. It's like an appendix. You have to go down and find it.
Okay. I mean, just as long as they're look, I have, you know me long enough to know this, Jackson. My ego, so small, minuscule, tiny. I have no ego. I just want others to shine. I don't have to be right.
Okay.
Now
we're just lying.
I can't even finish the sentence. 0152 said, got to run. I'll miss the finish of the Jackson Williams show today. Happy birthday. Hope somebody gives you 2 step ladders so you and Jackson can climb high enough to kiss Buford's ass. No, but look, I'm just saying I'm not buying this. And I guess Pauline Pusser's family, they'd be the ones that are pushing this. But I just don't buy that. I mean, the idea is either one of two. I mean, we're either dealing with one of two things. Either she shot him for some reason and he killed her, or he killed her and then shot himself in the face. And I don't see option 2 as being realistic. What?
It has nothing to do with what you're talking about. You want me to go anyway?
Oh, well, I guess so.
And this is a text from 0930. I heard Dan Mandis beat a homeless man unconscious at Edley's barbecue.
It's true. I was witness to it.
That's my favorite text message I think I've ever seen.
That's going to get we're going to pass that one around. Yes, Dan Mandis was at Edley's barbecue Thursday morning, and and all I know is that when I arrived, there was a homeless man crouched in the corner. And he was non-responsive to requests that he say hello or wake up or whatever. And Dan Mandis has been credibly accused of being responsible. I don't know that he beat him. More like he talked him into unconsciousness.
I heard he got Ken Weaver over there with a brick.
Maybe so.
That's probably too
That
far.
was my favorite part of the event. We did have this guy. I mean, I don't know. I vacillate back and forth on the issue of homelessness because I recognize that there are some very serious mental issues that go on with people, and they're human beings. And I don't mean to be too serious about all of this, but I felt bad for that guy.
You got to feel for him.
I felt bad for him. He gravitated to an event where there was free food. He ate some free food. Everybody left him alone. Everybody was fine. He sat down, and he was, just sitting there for a while. And then he ate the food, and he fell asleep. And I don't know if he's on something or not. I don't know. I don't know what his situation was. But eventually, the folks that are running the business, you can't be sleeping there. And so they woke him up. And I felt bad for him. I understand why the folks were doing what they were doing. And if I were in their position, I'd be doing the same thing. I had to do it a hell of a lot at Waffle House. I mean, you get the folks that come in and order of hash browns and, a cup of water. And obviously they don't have money. They got $1 or whatever. And they just sit there and sit there and sit there and sit there, and maybe they order coffee, and so they're getting refills on coffee, and eventually they're falling asleep, and you got to tell them to leave. I know it's cold outside. You got to go. In this case, the guy was fine. He looked a little out of it, tried to clean up his stuff, and Brian is correct. Beating a drifter did not get Steve Ducey's attention enough to get Steve Ducey. And let me tell you, Steve Ducey. For those that know, they know. Steve Ducey, Dan wanted to talk to Steve. I'll tell you what. You might have missed this story. I'll tell this story again after the break. Your call's coming up. Well, let's have some fun in the final 30 minutes of the show before we call it a Labor Day weekend. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news. I know he's doing his own podcast now, but we also need to get Scott Jennings on the show at some point. Originally from up there in Kentucky, he worked with Mitch McConnell for a hot minute. I think he worked with George W. Bush as well. He's now on CNN on the regular. He has an hour-long podcast of his own. And thank God for Scott Jennings that he deals with these liberals. It is absolutely hilarious. I'm going to share a little exchange that he had with some liberals coming up in just a moment on CNN. He's on Abby Phillips' show quite a bit. I watch this. I mean, I always say that I watch CNN so you don't have to, and I mean it. CNN is, I call them hashtag never CNN for a reason. Hashtag never CNN. Because they are a garbage network full of garbage people spewing what? Garbage. With a few exceptions, one of them being Scott Jennings, and he's in conservative corner over there, and he had a few things to say last night about this story involving RFK Jr. and replacing the CDC director with Jim O'Neill. The White House has now named, a day after the ouster of the CDC director, they've now named a new CDC director. The previous leader was forced out of the job. Jim O'Neill currently serves as deputy to the health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., replacing Susan Monarez after she was in the role for just a month. Lawyers representing Monarez said her sacking was illegal and alleged that she was targeted by Kennedy because she refused to rubber stamp reckless directives. Well, here's the deal, folks. Elections have consequences, and RFK Jr. is rooting out the pharmaceutical industry's influence on directives involving the Centers for Disease Control, which is designed to be a non-political, non-partisan organization and is far from it. See the COVID era. See how they put their thumbs on the scale during COVID. We're all old enough to remember it. It makes me sick how much CNN wants you to forget about that period in time, where people who refused the vaccine were vilified, where people who decided that they had autonomy over their own bodies, something that we get preached at about by the political left repeatedly in this country. Oh, my body, my choice, until it comes to vaccinations. And so the chickens come home to roost. I don't want to hear about how the CDC is such a above the fray scientific institution when they got down into the mud and the muck and the mire during the COVID-19 pandemic, and they refused to accept the science about ivermectin and other alternative methods by which you could protect yourself from the lab-grown virus, something that they also refused to admit for years. I don't want to hear it. But I didn't want to start the rant that way. I mean, it's amusing more than anything. So they oust this person, and the panel last night on CNN, hashtag never CNN, is just all beside themselves. And Scott Jennings has a point of order regarding whether or not that person was credible to begin with. And he used as an example their choice of the phrase birthing persons. When talking about women, when talking about mothers, listen in.
I just have to say, he did use the term pregnant people in his resignation
Oh, come
letter.
on.
And I'm sorry, if that is like the way you're presenting information, I have questions about your credibility.
Scott,
I love how, by the way, I'm going to rewind it for a minute. I have to say, I love how Scott Jennings says something, and he gets all the little hens worked up in the chicken coop, and they sound like little hens or turkeys. They get all worked up and beside themselves because he brings up the lunacy of the left when it comes to who can have children.
I just have to say, he did use the term pregnant people in his resignation
Oh, come
letter.
on.
And I'm sorry, if that is like the way you're presenting information, I have questions about your credibility.
It's so amazing.
It's not a ruse. He really wrote it down.
We are talking
about this guy's not credible to me. That's all I'm telling you.
Scott, are you serious?
Come on.
No, he is not credible.
No. Are you serious that this is
Yes, he did write it.
that of all the things that we're talking about here, immunizations, vaccines, autism,
A measles
the
outbreak,
research
worse than 30 years.
about on communicable diseases, on cancer, and you are the most concerned about someone's use of the word people.
Yeah, because
that's the most important thing
because
to
you
you.
were just complaining about the politicization of science.
All right, this is the great point. They complain about science being politicized, and they don't understand their own politicalization of the science. Women, the female species, can have babies. Men can. How insane is it that we've gotten here? That I have to sit on a 100,000 watt radio station talking to tens of thousands of people, whether it's on 99.7 FM or TuneIn or Spotify or iHeart or Talk TV all over the globe. And I have to sit here and remind everyone that only women can have babies, that only the female sex can have babies. Scott Jennings, too. And then Abby Phillips said, come on, Scott, you're not really serious about it. Yeah, I'm serious about this. Y'all have attempted to destroy the language. Y'all have attempted to destroy what it means to be a woman and what it means to be a man. And if the head of the CDC has bought into that, they are not credible.
You are the most concerned about someone's use of the word people.
Yeah, because
that's the most important thing.
Because you were just complaining about the politicization of science,
that's
and
not
I can't think of politicization of science more than that, or of what some of these people said to the American people during COVID. So the credibility of some of these folks who are complaining. Look.
Okay, so
well, I'm complaining, and I'm a public health and preventive medicine physician.
I understand the rhetoric and the political.
You realize that you're accepting some politicization of science, but not others, right?
What's the politicization of science that's been accepted?
Can men get pregnant or not?
Scott,
we're talking
in the
about,
CDC,
we're
you believe
talking
that,
about
I'm saying you're not a terribly credible person.
The CDC that is responsible for the health and well-being of the
that
nation.
Has absolutely nothing.
Nothing
to do with
it does, because it's a question of whether your scientists are going to.
I mean, y'all understand his point, and they refuse, and God bless him. It's like you're complaining that science has been politicized. Can men get pregnant? And they won't answer the question. But when you accept this language, this nonsense language, because you're on the knee for a minuscule portion of the population. This is how hard it is. This is how difficult it is. You ready? I'm going to make him answer the question. Y2J. Fraction Jackson.
Yes.
Can men get pregnant?
I don't believe so.
You see how hard that is, y'all? If I told you that someone was pregnant, would you assume that they're a woman?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It continues.
And the rhetoric and the political.
You realize that you're accepting some politicization of science, but not others, right?
What's the politicization of science that's been accepted?
Can men get pregnant or not?
Scott,
we're talking
in the
about,
CDC,
we're
you believe
talking
that,
about
I'm saying you're not a terribly credible person.
The CDC that is responsible for the health and well-being of the nation.
That has absolutely nothing.
Nothing
to do with
it does, because
it's
a question of whether your scientists are going to politicize or not, and you accept some and not others.
To do with the conversation that we are having.
I disagree. It's a credibility.
Why would we do that when people have died and are dying? Why would we do that when people's children are being dehumanized
in this country?
While people's children are being dehumanized, listen to this biddy on the left. I mean, come on.
Real things. When everything just becomes about buzzwords
or political
products.
I don't understand why you're rejecting this criticism of someone's credibility.
Yeah, because I think that what matters to people in their homes is whether or not they know what immunizations their child should have.
Yeah, and we don't, because the CDC has been compromised. The entire point that you are either too daft or just stubborn to accept or admit. The point is, if you're using language like birthing persons or pregnant peoples, then you're buying into the narrative that destroys your own credibility. So how am I to take you seriously when it comes to vaccinations, as an example, when you do these types of things? It's not that hard to understand. It's not. So kudos to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Look, I have a few questions. I don't know that we're ready to. I believe in science. All right. And I believe in vaccines under the definition that I understand of vaccines. And I don't think the COVID deal was ever a vaccine. That's what they called it to get buy-in. That's what they called it to get buy-in. And the president of the United States was elected to put his people in charge of these organizations, and they are rooting out the deep state involvement in many of these organizations, and I applaud them for it. Of course they should be doing this. This is called winning. 4675 says, whatever that show is, I would have to turn it off. Well, yeah, I mean, It's a lot of that. I mean, that's why I watch So You Don't Have to 4675, because I can relate it to you in a short, convenient conversation and then give you my take on it, and you don't have to bother with it. We'll wrap it up. Final thoughts on the final edition of this radio show for my current age when we return. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A few moments left before we say goodbye to 51, and by Wednesday of next week, we'll say hello to 52. How about that? I think no, Han's the youngster on the on staff. I'm younger than Benson. I'm younger than Mandis, and so I'm still third in line. You know, what do you got in there? There's a little
nothing. Just
all right. You want to finish I think during the football season on these Fridays, we should finish the show off in a particular way. That's right. I want our sports expert on these airwaves to offer fearless predictions. That's right. Action Jackson, Y2J. It's going to earn you some money. Now, these are not against the spread. I'm going to throw out games, and I want you to tell me who the winner of these games are.
All right, Brother Murphy, let's do it.
It's going to be pretty easy for week one. Let's start with my beloved Georgia Bulldogs. Number 5 team in the country taking on Marshall, 2:30 on ESPN. Who wins that game, Jackson?
Give me the Marshall Thundering Herd.
Florida State versus Alabama. That's also 2:30. That game's on ABC. Who's taking that one home?
I'm going to take the Alabama Crimson Tide, as much as I hate to say it.
Florida versus LIU.
Florida.
No, what? Hold on a second. This is going differently than I thought. Let's see. Oh, here's one. The Clemson Tigers taking on the LSU Tigers. The Battle of LS Pooh versus Clemson. Who you got?
The Battle of Death Valley.
Yeah, okay.
We're looking at Clemson winning that one. Dabo Swinney hands LSU their 6th straight season-opening loss.
I like it. What about Tennessee versus the Orange? What are they called? The Orange Men?
The Orange Men. Give me the Vols in a blowout.
And a big blowout. Okay. All right. How about Penn State's going to win, I assume, against Nevada?
Penn State.
Any other upsets you got? I'm holding off to the big game. I'm waiting till we get to the big game.
Who's OU got?
South Carolina, Virginia Tech. What do you got?
South Carolina, Lenora Sellers is a Heisman contender this season.
OU at 5 o'clock on the SEC Network. It's still weird to say that.
Oh, the 5 p.m. SEC Network game, they're playing a cupcake.
Yeah, that would be Illinois State.
Give me the Illinois State. What are they?
Illinois State. Hold on. I'll tell you. Wait. Illinois. You know how you go on the schedule and when you scroll over a team, it highlights the team and you can click on them?
They don't have a page?
They don't have a page.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. UTSA has a page.
I want to see what Ken Weaver's reaction would be if OU lost to Illinois State.
I think he would burn his OU hat.
Probably. I think he'd burn the newsroom down.
Well, maybe in the news closet. They say it's the first time that number 1 and number 2 have. Is this
faced off in week 1?
In week 1, it's also a rarity that the number 1 team in the country goes into the season as the number 1 team in the country, right? And they're a dog.
Yeah, because they're on the road.
Yeah, because they're on the road at Ohio State. Is this the most intriguing matchup for you week 1?
Me and my buddy are actually figuring out a way to get a dual TV setup going over at his place for tomorrow so we can watch, because the Vols play at the same time as this game. So I'm very excited to see how Texas pulls that one out. I got Texas taking that one in a close one.
Do you? I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, everybody is anointing Arch Manning, and I get it. I understand that he's got the pedigree, he's got the last name, and apparently he's got all the tools. But this is, correct me if I'm wrong, the first time that he has started a football game in this hostile of an environment.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And so I don't know if you know what you're going to get, but I don't know.
Didn't look good for Nico last year.
But here's the deal. I will never, ever, 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 ever pick Ryan Day to win a game because I don't like him.
You don't like him?
No, I don't. By the way, a loyal listener wants to know how in the world Alabama and Florida are both going to go 0-12 if they win this weekend.
I just predict the sports, boys.
Listen, I hope you enjoy the games. I hope your team wins, unless your team is the Marshall Thundering Herd, in which case I hope you lose by about 70 points. We're not back on Monday or Tuesday. Cameron Smith in for me on Tuesday. I'm back on Wednesday. Have a wonderful Labor Day. Y'all be safe. We love each and every one of you, and we'll talk to you next week. Until next time, so long, everybody.